Welcome in, everybody, to this week's episode of Bulletin Sports Talk. I'm your host, Brian Rathbone, with the Bulletin. And on today's show, we have Bend Elks coach Kyle Nobach. We're just going to have a quick chat about kind of the early season. We're a couple weeks in, kind of a tough start for the Elks. They're 1-6 after Tuesday's game. Then we're going to kind of talk, a little bit about how things kind of get turned around, the process of, getting the team better at this point, and a little Beaver baseball talk at the end about which one of the three championship teams would come out victorious if they were to hypothetically play each other. So anyway, here's Kyle for the second time, the first person to ever be on this podcast twice. Elks coach Kyle Nobach. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
It's a great day. Feels like the last couple of weeks, terrible kind of crummy weather for the area. It feels like, summer is now just, it's upon us.
Absolutely. I think we brought the weather with us from Seattle, Brian.
Oh, the Seattle weather. Okay. Yeah. I mean, brought all that
rain. It felt like these last couple of days, and we've been doing field work. I wasn't expecting it to be like that over here at Bend.
I know. It's, Seattle, Portland, a lot of rain. I'm telling you, you just don't miss it when you move out here. You get it a couple days and you're just like, it's like, oh, cool, it's rain. We probably could use some rain. But then after a couple days, you're just like, all right, bring the sun back.
Absolutely. It's beautiful tonight for our game. So
absolutely. Game tonight against Ridge Field. How many times I want to say Ridge View, which is, one of the local high schools. So Kyle, you've been here a couple weeks or about a month or so now, kind of getting, things, going with the Elks. What just kind of been the last couple month, just kind of been like, getting everything kind of going for the season?
I think it's been a lot of, building relationships with these players is the big thing, just really trying to connect with each one of them individually, doing some back end stuff, some things I wasn't really expecting, really trying to find some host families, trying to get our guys linked up in gyms and, really just trying to make the player experience, Brian, the best as possible and take care of these guys and give them the resources and the things that they need to succeed, on the field. And most importantly, man, just trying to have fun in this game. I think summer ball is supposed to be a fun thing, but at the same time, like I told them last night, I said, you probably have four of the most competitive coaches here coaching you guys. And we don't necessarily care if it's, summer baseball, if we're playing chess, if we're playing badminton, like we're trying to win. Like it doesn't matter what we're doing. But, I think having fun is winning. I do.
No, winning is fun. It's a lot more fun than losing. You guys obviously coming off of a tough loss last night in the later innings, which was, really, really entertaining game. And for, everyone probably watching, up until, the very end. But, last night, you were talking about, how much you've like kind of learned about, coaching, the last, just a couple weeks, even though you've been, coaching, for a while, now this being your first head coaching job, like, I've learned so much in just these last couple of weeks. What are some of those things that just like really you probably weren't prepared for and that you're just kind of learning on the fly when it comes to head coaching?
Yeah. I think there's, certain instances in life where we, lack some awareness. You don't know what you don't know. And I think sometimes, having the experience is the best teacher. So, I think there were some things I don't think I was aware of being a head coach and some things that you might have to deal with or, how much really, really goes into it on the back end. I would say 20% of this job is coaching baseball. The rest of it is talking to people. It's managing your team. It's keeping things organized. It's, communicating with the guys of where to be. It's, creating room lists and all these different things. But, I think just learning in the last, let's say, month or so has, I think challenged me, to really journal, to study and write things down and, understand, okay, well, when you move forward, Kyle, like, what are some things that we can avoid? And, I look at failure as almost, I would say, a good thing. We're 1-6, I believe, in league. Like, good. Like, we're right where we need to be. Like, we've been learning a hell of a lot, Brian. And me personally has been learning a lot. So, I think really just writing things down and learning from some mistakes and things that we've done. So in the future, we can help avoid those. And I think if you learn for, 10, 20 years, and you really are invested in that. You've learned a heck of a lot over that span of, that time.
You have like an example of like, you know, one of those learning experiences where you look back, you're like, man, I wish I would have handled this part differently. And
Yeah, I mean,
that they
I think one example would be, a player asked me to go on a trip, and I kind of gave him an option, kind of thinking, he would do the right thing and say, hey, we got to stick here. And he chose to go on this trip. So, I think I learned there. It's like you can't give your players an option and expect them to do the right thing. You just got to tell them. That's one example. I mean, another example could be, the host family situation. Maybe working on that early on as a coach. Entirely probably wasn't on me, but I took it into my own hands because I wanted to take care of these players and I wanted to, house them and make sure that we were able to take everybody in. So, maybe checking on that earlier next time. There's just, it's little things, Ryan, that really add up to the big picture of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, this is probably coaching a team like this is probably, different than like maybe, coaching a college team, where, another thing, aside from like the host family getting like all these like back end things figured out is like the roster kind of turnover. So it's almost like, I want to compare it to like a minor league team where you just kind of have players like moving up and down with it within the system. Your roster's changing, almost daily. I was looking at, the transaction that list that Noah put together, and it was just like so long. It was just like with old players leaving, new players coming in. Is that kind of like is the minor league, like coaching like a minor league, is that a good comparison? Kind of what this is kind of like?
I mean, especially the schedule and how much we play, it's very similar to a minor league schedule. In college, you play on the weekend and then you have, maybe a midweek here and there, but you have a whole week off. Here, you're playing 6 to 9 games straight. That's very similar in that minor league sense. And then we also have a younger team. I've had multiple conversations with guys that, I felt might not have been taken as serious as possible. And I said, hey, man, we're going to send you down to the minor leagues. We have another team called the Ben Bucks. I said, we'll send you down there and see if you can figure it out. And then you come back up and play with us. So, I think it is summer baseball. It is college baseball, but there is some comparison and, the minor league system and how that runs. And, you're exactly right, Brian. I mean, our roster, we've lost 12 guys that were on the original roster at one point. And so plugging and playing and, getting other players here. And, there's a lot of moving pieces to this.
Kyle, it hasn't been long since you last played. I mean, it's like 3 years ago. You're like this time you're headed to Omaha to play.
Yep.
Do you think you could still play if you were to insert yourself into the lineup? Would you?
I'll tell you this: I compete for sure. I can tell you that. I mean, I think the fire inside my belly burns. That competitiveness. I mean, I felt it last night. I could hardly sleep. I mean, it's still in there, that will to win, that will to fight. And, I think that's my duty as a coach, is to have that attitude be contagious to those guys. And if I can teach them anything, it's the will to fight. It's the will to win. And I think if they take that mindset with them and whatever they're doing in their life, Brian, they're going to be successful. But I believe, as the leader of this organization, if I have that attitude, I think that's contagious. And if I rub that off on them, regardless of how many ball games we win, I think it was a successful year.
When was the last time you were in the batting cages taking just like cuts, taking some swings?
I spent about 90 hours a month, Brian, in a cage for about 9 months straight before I showed up to Bend, Oregon. I've spent a lot of time in the cage. I've invested my whole entire life into the game of baseball. And, giving back and serving kids of all ages. We ran a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10 T-ball league for 6 weeks where we made these kiddos jerseys and everything. So, it's been my mission to serve and give back. I've been in the cage swinging a little bit, but I try to really just stay in tune with the workouts, myself working out. I've been working out with the players, not so much in the cage swinging and stuff. I think my body, my knees swinging, it doesn't exactly feel very good when I'm doing that. So I think playing it smart and, using the time that I could be in the cage swinging to pour into the guys and help them.
I don't know, man. As you get older, your body just can't do what it once could.
You're dang right, but I'm still young and healthy, man. I'm ready to rumble, Brian. I'm gonna be honest. So we're eating some lunch over here at 10 Barrel. We got a peak performance coach here in town tonight, a guy who I've met. I spent a lot of time around. He's going to spend some time with us the next couple of days and help these guys out. We're going to turn this dang thing around, Brian.
Yeah, you're bringing. Can you remind me of his name again?
They've Colin Henry.
Okay, what are you just kind of hoping your team kind of takes away from this guy you're bringing in?
I think he's going to talk to a lot about just the idea of culture, and then really freeing these guys of failure and having them look at it from a different perspective. We're going to talk about three things. Being a G, Brian. We're going to talk about giving, gratitude, and growing every single day. Being a G is what he calls it. And, that's going to be the message today.
Being a G.
Being a G.
You've talked about, not being, afraid of failure and whatnot, and kind of, with this team, hey, don't be afraid to fail. When you were playing, when did you feel that you were no longer scared to fail?
When I surrendered the outcome, when I didn't care about what the outcome was, when it was strictly focused on just competing, just playing, enjoying the game like I was in the backyard as a kid again, playing wiffle ball, really enjoying the game. When I wasn't worried about what people thought, I didn't care about what people thought. I didn't care about what our coach thought. I didn't care about if I was 4 for 4, being totally invested into the game, and your mind's in it and you set yourself free. And the only way I was really able to do that consistently, Brian, was through a mental practice that I did every single day. And every guy in our organization that, performed at an extremely high level was also preparing that way. And, getting my mind to be quiet in a world that is so loud, in a world that so many things are going on. I think the goal every single day is to keep our mind quiet.
And when did this kind of transformation happen for you?
It happened at Oregon State. It happened when I, had spent enough time in the process. It takes time. The process works like a bamboo tree. You plant this bamboo tree in the ground and you water this tree every day for 6, 7, 8 years. You don't see anything come out of the ground. But what you don't see is deep below this ground, these strong roots growing. And after that 8-year mark, that tree grows 80 feet in a year. And that's how this works. It takes time. It's consistently practicing it. But you got to know what you're practicing. And that's why we got Colin here. And we got a really, really good coaching staff here that's going to help get these boys right. And be fired up to play the game of baseball, right?
Yeah, you talked about, you have 4 of the, most competitive coaches, and very, very competitive coaches that you said you guys have on your staff. 3 of them obviously all Oregon State guys, and played, and all 3 of you guys won titles. Do you ever between the 3 just like debate on who which team was the best one, the 06, the 07, or the 2018?
I don't think there's much debate about that. I think it's more I just feel very blessed, Brian. I grew up watching those guys. I grew up idolizing those guys. And now I'm the head coach of the organization and they're working alongside with me. I just feel blessed to have them be here, with us. And those were guys I looked up to. And it's why I wanted to go to Oregon State, watching Ty Graham play and Joey Wong turning a double play. And it just gives me chills thinking about it, and I share the same locker room with them. So, we bicker back and forth a little bit. We get competitive. We're playing cards. Shoot, we're always competing with each other. But, I think if anything, the Beaver family is the Beaver family. It doesn't matter, 18, 06, 07. We love each other. And I think it's a one big brotherhood. And, we're going to take care of each other. And, these guys are just as invested as I am. All of us were fired up last night after losing that ball game, Bryce. So, but I think those 18 Beavs, statistically, Brian, I think we got them.
Hey, you make a great case.
Yep.
But hey, the
17 might even be better.
What?
The 17 team might even be the best team. Didn't even win it.
The case could easily be made. But yeah, no, it's cool that's kind of just a cool wrinkle, with the with this team, is that you just have that that lineage of, players that played for really, really great college baseball teams.
Yeah, it's awesome is what it is.
All right, Kyle. Well, hey, I'm going to let you get back to your lunch and enjoy 10 barrel. And hey, good luck tonight against in game 2 against Richfield.
I'll see you down at the yard, Brian. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Hey, you have a good rest of your day, Kyle. Thanks.
Yep. Bye.
Thanks again to Kyle for joining in on today's episode. We will be back again next week with another episode. You can follow this podcast on iTunes or Spotify, or you can watch the video version on the Bulletin's YouTube channel. And you can also find that on the Bulletin's website. So anyway, thanks again, and we'll be back again next week.